And we're back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rosicle. I, of course, am one of the hosts on the channel. My name's Nathaniel. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Ashley. Say hi.
Hi.
There she is. We're back. We're doing another opening. You guys know what the drill is, what the name of the game is, what all that good stuff. We're working through Duskmourn House of Horrors right now. Let's see. We've done Modern Horizons 3, we did all four of those, and then now we've done the first one of this, which is Death Toll. It's on anti-shake.
Okay.
So even if it shakes, it tries to shake as little as possible. So, all right, so we're back. We're with, this one's Miracle Worker, so we're in white, blue, and black. I believe that's Esper. We are working with a commander that does some miracle things, so we'll talk about that in just a moment. And yeah, let's see if there's anything that we need to know on the back. This is going to have more arch enemy cards, so we're going to go through those again, because that was pretty cool to read last time. But we looked into it a little bit more. I don't know if that was on screen or off screen. But there are like different rules for arch enemy. Like it's not just 1v3. There's actually like, I think the arch enemy got like an extra turn or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but there were some extra rules for it. Okay, so we're gonna crack into this thing. Any day now.
I'm excited for the new boxes that don't open weirdly.
Yeah, these are kind of a pain. I'll give it that much. These things can be kind of like, I'm trying not to put so much oomph into it that like when it slips, I just like yeet the entire setup down. But because of that, we're definitely not opening this in the easiest, cleanest way possible. All right, give it a little shimmy, a little shimmy shoo, shoop.
That's such a pretty box.
We toss the trash to Ashley.
He did actually throw it at me this time, you guys. He's making progress. Everyone, give him a clap.
Look at that. That's kind of pretty.
It is.
That's
pretty.
kind of cute.
It is.
All right,
probably
so
the only cute
back,
one from
we have
Duskmourn.
our commander deck.
Woo!
We have our fold out that we'll be reading. We have some punch outs.
Woo!
If we wanted to punch them out, which the locked doors punch outs are actually kind of nice. These ones seem a little big.
Yeah.
Like that seems bigger than what they need to be, but that's fine. And your punch outs on the side if that's something that you're interested in. We're gonna toss the trash to Ashley.
Woo! You guys, he threw it at me. Don't applaud. Take your applause back.
Okay, these are gonna be our arch enemy cards. We're gonna break into those first. So, if you guys want to see just what's in the deck, you don't care about the arch enemy cards, you can go ahead and skip ahead a few minutes. And we'll get into the normal proper deck unboxing then. But just because I think it's a rather cool mechanic, and I didn't know that it really existed before now, we're going to break into these arch enemy cards and just give them a read. If I can open the package. Open the package. You got there. Alrighty, here we go. First one up is Choose Your Demise. Hopefully it's focusing okay for you guys. When you set this scheme in motion, look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put the cards in that pile into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's pretty cool. Behold the power of destruction. When you set this scheme in motion, destroy all non-land permanents target opponent controls. Ooh, you just wipe out an opponent. You cannot hide from me. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, up to 1 target creature gets +2/+2 and gains vigilance until end of turn. It can't be blocked this turn. At the beginning of each opponent's instep, if that player has less than half their starting life total, abandon this scheme. Oh, because this is an ongoing one. Ongoing scheme. Your commander has Ward 2. Whenever your commander attacks, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. When your commander leaves the battlefield, abandon this scheme. Only I know what awaits. Ooh, it's eking back into the camera there.
I said, I'm not done with you.
Only I know what awaits. When you set this scheme in motion for each card type among permanents your opponents control, you may put a permanent card of that type from your hand onto the battlefield. That's pretty cool too. My Followers Ascend. When you set this scheme in motion, put 5 +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, and it gains flying and vigilance until the end of turn. If you control no creatures, instead create a 4/4 colorless Scarecrow artifact creature token with vigilance. That one doesn't seem too bad.
No. Time
bends to my will. When you set this scheme in motion, take an extra turn after this one. Skip the untap step of that turn. Well, that saves it a little bit. That was going to be just like, well, basically the best one. I am Duskmourn. At the beginning of your instep, you may cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you do, abandon this scheme. Okay, cool. So you can kind of just wait it out for the right one.
Yeah.
My wealth will bury you. When you set this scheme in motion, create a number of treasure tokens equal to the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. If they control fewer than 4 artifacts or enchantments, instead create 4 treasure tokens. So, like, create a bunch of treasure tokens, minimum of 4.
Yeah.
A premonition of your demise. When you set this scheme in motion, reveal the top 2 cards of your library and put them into your hand. When you reveal 1 or more non-land cards this way, this scheme deals damage equal to their total mana value to any target.
What?
Nice. Alright, so those are Arch Enemy cards. If you want to play Arch Enemy, it seems like a pretty cool, and I like the back of them too, seems like a pretty cool way to play the game if you have enough buddies to get together and want to mix it up. Alright. Everything okay in phone land over there?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm just making sure your phone isn't
She is on phone team because I cannot be on phone teams. We're just going to set those off to the side. Arch Enemy is great, but we don't need it. Alright, what else came in the pack? Well, we have our trash. So give that to Ashley.
Trash.
Then we have our Duskmourn House of Horrors Collector Booster Sample Pack. Don't buy them for these, but every once in a while you get something kind of cool. We will set that off to the side.
The sky. It's off to the sky.
Alright, guys, we'll see you in the next episode. I hope you guys... Alright.
Quits Rusical.
We do have... just retires. Alright, so here we have the Esper, and of course there's your Miracle Worker.
It's so
in the back.
pretty, you guys.
But this one is kind of hinted orange because of the butterflies that she has.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, rather pretty. And you know what? I always, I used to come at these deck boxes, but they serve their purpose as long as you don't put them in too big of sleeves. Like even Dragon Shield and like Katana and whatnot, like they'll fit in the box. They're just it's gonna feel like a bit of a brick if you if you put your tokens in there as well, it's going to be really dense.
It's real dense.
And then if you do double sleeve, there's no hope.
Get a different box.
But realistically, if you can afford sleeves and double sleeves for a deck, and you're putting in cards that are worth double sleeving, you can probably afford a deck box, right? So there's that. Collector Booster Sample Pack, we'll leave that over there. And finally, jumping into things, we're going to open this in just a moment. But we have our little fold out. So let's do this as fast as we can because we try to keep these videos pretty short for you guys and we don't do a great job at that.
No, we don't. We've been doing better. The
Alright,
first
let's
one
take
was
a
like
look
an hour.
Let's take a look at it. So there she is.
Woo!
I have not thought about how to pronounce her name. Aminatu?
Aminatau?
Aminatau?
I don't know. You guys were going to try.
Alright, here we go. Aminatau, the Veil Piercer, or just Veil Piercer, I guess. Fates, fortunes, prophecies, and destinies. These are all things that the young and powerful Aminatau has foreseen, held in her hands, and played with. Because she used her fate-shifting powers to simply will it, Aminatau sparked at a young age and left her home behind to traverse the plains. Despite being a playful child, her powers have granted her the knowledge of a lifetime and a calm demeanor due to knowing what might come next. Aminatau followed disturbances and shifts she felt across worlds, sending her fate-shifting moths to offer people to other people to influence their destinies. So those are not butterflies, they are moths. But
ew!
After being desparked and losing her ability to enter planes at will, Aminatau continued to follow her instincts to a mysterious door. The threatening prophecy of Valgavoth disturbed her, telling her that if she entered the plane and the demon gained access to her powers, it would devastate the entire multiverse. But without her help, the survivors would surely perish. In a battle of moth versus moth and will versus will, Valgavoth commands his minions to attack throughout Duskmourn, while Aminatau projects her presence inside to guide the survivors. Although Valgavoth wishes to consume the multiverse, Aminatau holds tight to her own fate. He will gain nothing as long as she wills it. Playing the deck. So this is where we get into the increasingly smaller section about how to play the deck. Miracles don't happen every day unless you're a Aminatau. She gives each enchantment Miracle, allowing it to be played for a huge discount, as long as it's the first card you've drawn that turn. That's an enchantment for every situation. All it takes is for you to get it on top of your library. Don't stress, though, Aminatau isn't one to simply wait and let fate decide. Her ability to surveil will provide you with several options to grant you a peek into your future draws. And then here on the back, we just see sort of archenemy rules and commander rules with some more art. And let's jump into this. All right, so before we get into the whole deck, so let's take a look at what our... Oh, we're still sort of freezing over here. I hope we're okay. It looks like we haven't dropped frames, so it might just be my laptop.
Probably.
So hopefully everything's okay for you guys. If it does come out glitchy, just know, you know, we're still
try.
sort of new to this. We do our best for you guys, so.
Storms today,
open.
so.
Yeah, we did have some storms today. I guess that can always affect technology. All right, so I know that things are going to be a little like shimmery, but hopefully you guys can read this okay. We're going to set this off to the side. And we have a minute's out. All right, we'll try to get that as not shimmery as possible. At the beginning of your upkeep, so it's a 4-cost 2/4, so pretty small creature for the cost, but obviously you're not really swinging with her. At the beginning of your upkeep, you surveil 2, so that's what it was talking about. Every upkeep, we surveil 2. Then, each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Its Miracle cost is equal to its mana value, or sorry, mana cost, reduced by 4 generic. So this is the way that Miracle works, and it explains it here on the card. I really hope that, I don't know. I guess we'll find out later. You may cast a card for its Miracle cost when you draw it, if it's the first card you draw this turn. So our goal is to put enchantments on the top of our library so we can play them for significantly cheaper. That's what this deck does. It takes enchantments, puts them on the top, we draw it first our turn, so now it has Miracle for 4 less, and we play it.
But, okay, realistically, you guys, how do you know that it was, like, drawn off the top? Like, how do your opponents know?
Well, you surveil, you put something on top, and then you draw. Oh, you mean like you put it in your hand and then they just pick a different one and say, hey, this is... So that's something that, like, in Magic, like, first of all, Commander's not competitive. Well, but in actual competitive Magic, yeah, that you could call a judge over if for some reason you thought that someone did something like that, where it was like, oh, this... Like, basically... If I were playing and I didn't want someone to call me out on something like that, I would very meticulously be like, okay, I have drawn this off the top. I am now going to cast this exact spell that you saw.
Okay.
Never really go into my hand, or at least you did. It went into just, you know, this. I don't have a good example, but you know what I mean. Like, it stayed on the far right, and then I played it from the far right, you know. Yeah, I guess, like, if you're really good at sleight of hand, you could probably pull it off, you know, but...
Anyways, that was
it is something to keep in mind. Yeah, you could cheat this pretty easily,
but don't. Be
Commander's
nice.
Not a cheating game. You know, if you want to cheat in Commander, like, come on, what are you doing?
Don't be mean.
What are you doing? All right, so we're gonna leave her in the top corner because, of course,
no, we're not.
We're gonna get her sleeved up. And do you want to show those sleeves?
Yeah, I'll show them.
Let's show it once she's in there. All right, so we're gonna get her sleeved up, and now
we gave her white sleeves.
We are giving her these beautiful white sleeves
because she's hope and
because
dark.
Yeah, she's giving like healing and enchantment-y white vibes, right?
Yeah.
So for Magic. So there we go. All right, now we're gonna leave her over here in the corner to represent the deck. Though you guys probably cannot see that with the glare, she's still there.
She exists.
And that's what matters. All right, so let's get into the deck. We take this bad boy, we flip it over. We grab this card that doesn't need to be anything, and we rip it because we don't need it. This is just the, like, on your turn.
You guys, like, I even saw that it said on your turn, and I still, when he ripped it, my heart dropped into my stomach.
Understandably so. Let's take a quick look at tokens. We have some scarecrows with some glimmers on the back, a scarecrow with an inkling on the back, a scarecrow with an inkling on the back, a copy with a horror on the back, copy shark with star, copy with shark with star, glimmer with a horror on the back, glimmer with an angel on the back, and a treasure with an angel and a treasure with an angel. There be the tokens.
They're good. I want to look at them. Pretty hard.
She's going to take a look at them. All right, so the next thing we do is we take a guess at where our lands end. I'm going to guess right there.
Oh, the glimmer's cute. Horror's not.
He nailed it perfectly.
Good job,
Wild.
Ryan.
All right, so these are, of course, the just plains, islands, and swamps from Duskmourn. Nothing crazy about that, but it will give a big pile for Ashley to get on sleeving. Everyone say thank you, Ashley, for being such a valued member of the team.
Hate token art.
You guys better leave it down in the comments below. We love and appreciate you.
Aw, you're so sweet, baby.
All right, let's jump into the action. Oh, why am I moving that away? The whole point is to have it on.
On that side.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
My favorite land.
Let's jump into things. We have, bam, Thriving Moor. It doesn't do much, but it's a little bit of color fixing, and we're in a three-color land. Three-color land, three-color deck. Thriving Isle, it does the same thing, but except it enters with blue. Thriving Heath. Okay, so we have, like, a ton of these because we have Jumpstart that we've bought, but hey, you know what? More power to them. Do we want to leave these, like, visible to the... Yeah, we'll leave these visible to them, and you'll just, like, come in.
Sneak.
You'll come in and you'll swoop in and just...
Oh, someday.
Yeah, just take them out, right? Tainted Isle, more lands here, but this one's actually pretty good, right? These are the ones where Well, no, not quite. So it only taps for a blue or a black if you control a
Swamp.
But
Terrible.
here we have the white-black one for if you control a swamp. So Tainted Field. What was the other one? Tainted Isle.
Isle.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Then we have... this is the bounce land for Orzhov. So bounce a land when it enters Obscura Storefronts. It's a land when it enters, sack it, search for a basic plains, island, or swamp. Okay, but then you gain a life. So, I mean, it's fine.
It's not bad.
Let's see. Halimar Depths. It enters tapped. When it enters, look at the top 3 cards of your library and then put them back in any order.
Oh.
Okay. So that just helps us do some... That helps us do some miracle-ling.
Yeah.
Evolving Wilds. I hope we know at this point what Evolving Wilds does. Dimir Aqueduct is the bounce land, but in Dimir. Bojuka Bog enters tapped and then lets you exile somebody's graveyard, so you can do a little bit of
It's
graveyard
terrible.
hate. Azorius Chancery is the Azorius bounce land. Ash Barrens lets you basic land cycle. Other than that, it just taps for colorless. Arcane Sanctum is the Esper. I want to say that's what the color combo is. Enters tapped tri-land. 1 damage to you. So this is what, like, I'm going to call it a damage land. I don't know if that's what it would be called.
I call it a pain land.
Pain land. Interesting. I know I've heard of pain land. I think I've also heard of damage land, so I don't know. Scry lands. Again, these can come out pretty quickly, these temples, but, you know, do what you got to do. You ready to swoop in?
No, I'm waiting for there to be no more land.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Temple of Enlightenment, so Azorius, Scry 1. But hey, honestly, actually, I would say normally you want these out, but scrying in this deck
Is what you need.
is honestly what you need, right? Because it can help you do stuff. So, It can help you set up Miracle. Scry land, but in Dimir. Hall of Heliod's Generosity. This is a rather expensive land. This is in the enchantment deck from...
Wilds.
This is in the enchantment deck from Wilds of Eldraine. I think it's like the most expensive card in that deck.
Probably.
Because, yeah, pay 1 and a white, tap it, just put target enchantment card from your graveyard, notably on top of your library.
Yep.
So very good in this deck because
Yeah,
you're going to be able to cast that for cheaper, too, with Miracle. So very good card there. Caves of Kolios is the, what did you call it? Pain land, damage land.
Pain land.
But in Orzhov, here we have deals 1 damage to you, but in Azorius. And we're into actual creatures. So Solemn Simulacrum, a.k.a. Sad Robot, enters, go get a land. When he dies, draw a card. I mean, perfectly fine card, but normally we see that in something where, like, you care about ETB effects, that sort of thing. Because, realistically, in this deck, I don't know if he's doing too much for us. You know what I mean? Time Wipe, we actually just saw this earlier because it's in Sidar Jabari, and that's sort of the deck that I'm maining right now and upgrading. This is just a board wipe, but you get to return a creature to your hand first, so that can be nice. Spirit Sister's Call. This is a lot of words on this card. At the beginning of your end step, choose target permanent card in your graveyard. You may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with the chosen card. If you do, return the chosen card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains, if this permanent would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Interesting. So you can make like a swap.
Interesting.
That's interesting, yeah. Really interesting enchantment there. But hey, it's an enchantment that we can make cheaper. Life Insurance, Extort. Whenever you cast a spell, you may pay white or black. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain that much life. Whenever a non-token creature dies, you lose 1 life and create a treasure token. I mean, it doesn't say a non-token creature you control.
No.
I wonder if whenever you cast a spell, I wonder if that just means like this spell or just a spell.
True.
I would love some rules clarification if anybody knows on Extort. That seems interesting. Seems really interesting. Okay, next we have Ink Shield. Oh, okay, this is a rather popular card. It sounds really good, but I swear, people swear by that this is not as good as it sounds, right? Hear me out here. 3 and then a white and a black. Prevent instant speed. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. So if you prevent 10 damage, you create 10 2/1 flying Inkling creatures.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That is.
But I feel like it's also a well-known card, so a lot of people see, oh, you've held up 5 damage, or sorry, 5 mana, and they're a white and a black. I don't know how I feel about the card, you know?
Yeah.
But hey, I don't think I own a copy, so I'm glad to own a copy.
Fair.
Aetheros, Shroud Veiled. This is an enchantment creature god, indestructible 4/7 for 6. As long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, it isn't a creature. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Wow.
It's a lot.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And you could cast him as an enchantment with Miracle for just a white and a black.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty wild. Nightmare Shepherd. Enchantment creature demon flying 4/4. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 and it's a nightmare in addition to its other type. So pretty good with like ETB effects or even just ongoing effects, that sort of thing. Doomwake Giant, Constellation enchantment creature. Whenever a Doomwake Giant or another enchantment you control enters, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of turn. If you can cast enough enchantments, this becomes a board wipe, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
I don't know. Really interesting stuff. She's swooping in. Demon of Fate's Design, 4 and 2 black, flying, trample, 6/6, enchantment creature demon. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an enchantment spell by paying life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. That's really nice. 2 and a black, sacrifice another enchantment, and it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the sacrificed enchantment's mana value. That seemed decent. I don't know why you would sack your own enchantment to it, but if you needed to. Arvinox the Mind Flail. 4 and 3 black. Now, this is a card I have been, like, really looking at for the horror deck, because it's a horror. But anyways, just saying, might take this out and put this into Mind Flayers, because I'll probably think Mind Flayers is a cooler deck, but it's fine. Arvinox the Mind Flayer isn't a creature unless you control 3 or more permanents that you don't own.
Theft.
So I feel like that's not likely to happen in this, but in like the Mind Flayer, which is very much a theft deck, or even just the theft deck. At the beginning of your end step, exile the bottom card of each opponent's library face down. For as long as those cards remain exiled, you may look at them. You may cast permanent spells from among them, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So this enables you to steal the spells. But it works almost better in those decks that already steal spells, right? But I don't know. Shark Typhoon. Figured this one was coming when we saw that there were sharks with XX and flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell's mana value. When you cycle Shark Typhoon, because it has cycle, pay X1 and a blue, you create a XX blue shark creature token with flying. So you can also cycle it if you need to, like search for something desperate. All right, what's next? We have Prognostic Sphinx. I don't know if I'm saying that right. 3 and 2 blue, creature Sphinx flying. Discard a card. It gains hexproof until end of turn, but you do have to tap it. Whenever it attacks, you get to scry 3. Okay, so this is in here for setting up our... That is purely in there for setting up our miracle. One with the multiverse, 8 cost enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand or the top of your library without paying its mana cost.
That's nice.
So it's 2 mana less than Omniscience, but significantly worse than Omniscience, which just...
Yep.
Well, okay, Omniscience doesn't let you look at and play off the top of your library, so I guess there's sort of a difference there. But Omniscience would definitely go in this deck as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, play Omniscience for 6, play all things for free after that. Like, Mirror Maid enchantment for 3. You may have Mirror Maid enter as a copy of any artifact or enchantment on the battlefield. That's pretty good.
That is
Copy
nice.
that Smothering Tithe. Copy that Rhystic Study.
Literally.
Ooh, Extravagant Replication. We just saw this get reprinted in Foundations. 4 and 2 blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of another target non-land permanent you control. Pretty good. You can just start making copies of your enchantments. Hope they aren't legendary. Alright, 4 and 2 blue creature Nightmare Sphinx called Dream Eater. Flash 4/3 with flying. Whenever it enters, you surveil 4. When you do, you may return target non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. That's pretty good. I don't know if it's as good as it's making it out to be, but It's pretty good.
But it's not terrible.
2 and a white, creature, human, scout, ranger, Verge Rangers. This is in the A1 deck, right?
Yep.
First strike, look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as an opponent controls more lands than you, you may play lands from the top of your library. So kind of helps you catch up on lands. Very good in, 4-player pod. Someone's probably going to have more lands than you. In our much more likely to play Rollsicle 1v1s, it's a little less likely.
Oh, yeah.
Timely Ward. Enchantment aura, 2 and a white. You may cast Timely Ward as though it had flash if it targets a commander. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has indestructible. So it's like slightly worse. Or maybe slightly better. I don't know. Slightly better or slightly worse. Mithril armor? Or what? Mithril coat? Mithril coat? I don't know. But, excuse me, this one is an enchantment, so we would be able to cast it for 1. Which is pretty cool. That's one of the ones that would be interesting, though, because, right, you draw it, right?
Yes.
But then you don't want to cast it, you want to do it at instant speed to catch someone off guard. Mm-hmm. So you maybe, set it aside or something like that, and then later reference it. But, because, you don't want the person thinking that you're lying, but at the same time, you want to catch them with it, right? Because you can cast it at instant speed. I don't know. That's an interesting one. You brought up a really good question with that. 1 and a white, creature, human, cleric, Starfield Mystic. This one's very popular in enchantment decks. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on them. Very popular. And very good. Sigil of the Empty Throne. 3 and 2 white. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. That's pretty good. Just pay off for enchantments, huh? Ondu Spirit Dancer, 4 and a white, core cleric creature, 3/3. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, you may create a token that's a copy of it.
Oh, wow.
Do this ability only once each turn.
I totally didn't drop a card.
I hope it wasn't a valuable one. I'm not too worried about it. Monologue Tax. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you create a treasure token. That's pretty good. Was it a good one?
Mirror Maid.
I don't know. We'll find out later.
Yep. It's okay. It's not damaged.
Entreat the Angels. X, and 3 white. Create X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying. However, it has a Miracle X and 2 white. You may cast this card for its Miracle cost when you draw it. If it's... Oh, well, it's just telling us Miracle. Oh, that's interesting here. So you can pay 1 less white, and then the X can cost only 1 per angel rather than 2 per angel if you cast it with Miracle. So this is a sorcery. It's not even an enchantment. This is just a sorcery that already has Miracle.
That's nice.
It's pretty cool. Utter End. Good removal here. Just exile target non-land permanent. I'm here for it. I was actually... I think it's called D-Spark in Sidar. That I was playing against you, and I actually ran into that situation where everything I wanted to remove had less than 4 mana value. And that's what the card says. It's like mana value 4 or greater. And I was like, well, dang it. Your commander still has 3. Your Lorien Brute still has 2. I was like, dang it. A Minotaur's Augury. 6 and 2 blue sorcery. Exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield until end of turn. For each non-land card type, you may cast a spell of that type from among the exile cards without paying its mana cost. Wow. You just get a sorcery, an instant, an enchantment, an artifact, a creature, all of that for free if you manage to pull the different types. Pretty good sorcery. Terminus, this has Miracle. I'm realizing that. The little art at the top means that the card has Miracle. So good to know. 4 and 2 white, put all creatures on the bottom of their owner. Put all creatures on the bottom of their owner's library. So it's a 6 mana board white question mark because they go to the bottom of the library.
Yeah.
But you can Miracle it for 1 white.
Wow.
That's pretty good. That's honestly really good. Mesa Enchantress, Human Druid 0/2, 1 and 2 white. Whenever you cast an enchantment... Yeah, these are the ones that you really need, right? Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card. Huge, very important. You're going to want these abilities. Because that's what gets you... That's what keeps your, foot on the pedal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
2, a blue and a black, Human Detective, Phenomenon Investigators. As Phenomenon Investigators enters, choose Believe or Doubt. Believe. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 2/2 black horror enchantment creature token. Or Doubt. At the beginning of your end step, you may return a non-land permanent you own to your hand. If you do, draw a card.
Wow.
That's interesting. Metamorphosis Fanatic. Human Cleric, lifelink 4/4 with 4 and 2 black. When Metamorphosis Fanatic enters, return up to one target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a lifelink counter on it.
Wow.
And it has Miracle for just 1 and a black.
Crazy.
Very powerful. Are you okay?
Yeah.
You sound very out of it.
I'm sorry.
We have a room here, people. Hopefully you can read it. Cramped Vents. When you unlock this door, this room deals 6 damage to target creature an opponent controls. You gain life equal to the excess damage dealt this way. That one was for 4. But to be fair, these are enchantments. So hopefully you could do that for like 1. Or Access Maze, 5 and 2 black. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand by paying life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost.
Okay.
That's fine. The creature that did that is probably much better. Ancient Seller's Spawn. Enchantment creature horror 3/3 for 3. Each spell you cast that's a demon, horror, or nightmare costs 1 less to cast.
Okay.
This is pretty good for a horror deck, honestly.
Yeah.
Just make all your horrors 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast it was less than its mana value, target opponent loses life equal to the difference.
Nice.
That seems decent. Fear of Sleep Paralysis. This one's a popular card. 6 mana, 6/6 flying. Enchantment creature nightmare. Eerie. Whenever Fear of Sleep Paralysis or another enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it.
Okay.
Stun counters can't be removed from permanents your opponents control. Basically, that they just won't untap if they have stun counters on them. That's insanely powerful.
It is.
As long as this is on the battlefield, each time you play an enchantment, just perma-tap a creature.
That's crazy.
That's really powerful.
Really
I see
is.
why people were like...
Oh, going over the moon
Yeah.
for that card.
Soaring Lightbringer. Enchantment creature Bird Glimmer 5 for a 4/5 flying. Other enchantment creatures you control have flying. That's very good. Whenever you attack a player, create a 1/1 White Glimmer enchantment creature token that's tapped and attacking that player.
Cool.
Very powerful. Very good. Oh! Alright, here we go. Another room. Secret Arcade. Non-land permanents you control and permanent spells you control are enchantments in addition to their other types. That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a number of +1/+1 counters on... Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to that spell's mana value on up to 1 target creature. That's very powerful too. I like both of those. Redress Fate is a sorcery that's going to have Miracle. It's 6 and 2 white. Return all artifacts and enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's pretty good.
That's
and then you can
crazy.
Miracle it for just 3 and a white. So 4 mana, return all your enchantments back from the graveyard to the battlefield. Very powerful. All right, Orzhov Signet. You guys know what the signets do. Are we going to see another signet? We're going to see another signet? Nope. Mind Stone, but you should know what that does. Although I do love the Duskmourn art on it. Commander Sphere. We know what that does. Burnished Heart. 2/2 that you can sack for 2 lands later on. Rant a little bit. Brainstone. Don't know what this does. 1 mana artifact. Pay 2, tap it, sack it, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Okay, so playable in this deck, but not really playable in most decks.
Yeah.
There's the Azorius Signet. Read the Bones is a pretty good draw spell, right? Scry 2, then draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. Yeah. The Eldest Reborn, 5 mana Saga, which notably is an enchantment. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each opponent discards a card, and then put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. If it gets to that third bit. Thirst for Meaning is an instant that lets you draw some cards, then discard 2 cards, unless you discard an enchantment card, which you'll definitely be able to do. So that's just a pretty good draw spell, I guess. Otherworldly Gaze is just 1 mana, Surveil 3.
Oh, wow.
I mean, sure. I guess if like you surveil 2 and you just hit no enchantments, then you could like cast this at instant speed
Yeah, realistically.
before you go to draw. You know? Brainstorm, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order.
Not bad.
Archetype of Imagination, human, wizard, enchantment creature, 3/2 for 6. Creatures you control have flying. Creatures your opponents control lose flying and can't have or gain flying.
Oh, wow.
That's really powerful. Arcane Denial is just a pretty good counterspell that lets you draw. There's a lot of controversy about how good that is, but I think it's fine.
I think it's good too.
Very good in your deck. It's a good thing to
Add.
shift into your deck, yeah. Because it's just a counter that lets you get your drawing triggers
Exactly.
as well. Creatures can't attack. Oh, Sphere of Safety. 5-mana enchantment. Creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays X for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments you control. So it's a beefed up ghostly prison that doesn't do 2 per creature. It does X per creature, where X is your enchantments. That seems
Wow.
really good.
That is
And you could cast that maybe for just 1 white. Woo!
insane.
Return to Dust. We've seen this one before. 4 mana, exile target artifact or enchantment. If you cast this during your main phase, you could choose another one, essentially. And we have Cast Out. 4 mana, enchantment, flash. When it enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until it leaves. Okay. And it has cycling, though, so that's nice. Command Tower, except it's the cool Duskmourn Command Tower, which I like the spooky vibes. Soul Ring, cool Duskmourn Soul Ring, like the spooky vibes. Arcane Signet, cool Arcane Signet, Duskmourn Arcane Signet. I wouldn't know if I would call that one spooky, but it's still very Duskmourny. Diabolic Vision, Demir. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand, and the rest on top of your library in any order.
Interesting.
Telling Time. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of those cards into your hand, 1 on top of your library, and 1 on the bottom of your library. Portent. 1 mana sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of target player's library, then put them back in any order. You may have that player shuffle. Draw a card at the beginning of your next turn's upkeep.
Wow.
Ponder. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. You may shuffle. Draw a card.
I'm seeing a theme.
Moonblessed Cleric. When Moonblessed Cleric enters, you may search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. Oh, buddy, that is a very good one in this deck.
Oh, absolutely.
Very, very good one. Swords to Plowshares is just good removal. I would love to see Path to Exile in here as well. It's just good removal. It looks like we're not going to get to. Oromancer, 3 mana, 2/2. When it enters, you may return target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Still a good way to just get some of that stuff back. Terramorphic Expanse. Interesting to just see a sack land this far into the deck.
Yeah.
A room, in case we wanted to not have another one. When you unlock this first one for just a single blue, return up to 1 target creature to its owner's hand, or 4 in a blue, Locker Room. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Pretty solid.
It's not bad.
Notably, it's not per creature, it's just 1 or more, so it is per player, though. And Master of Keys. This is, of course, our alternate commander. X, a white, a blue, and a black. Flying 3/3. Legendary enchantment creature. Horror.
Wow.
Whenever it enters, put X +1/+1 counters on it and mill twice X cards. Each enchantment card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. So basically just kind of buffs up your hand, if you will, a little bit. And we will get that sleeved up here. All right. Wow, what was your favorite card? What was your least favorite card, my lovely co-host? As you stare at the deck menacingly.
It almost all fell off the table.
That would be bad.
I would have cried.
You sure you're in this?
Yes. I'm very worried about that falling
There's
off
our
the table
deck.
now. It exists.
Looking beautiful
I did
as
it.
ever. We will get the first
I'm
shuffle
kind of
going.
interested to see how this plays because, like, obviously I've seen Esper before in Sidar.
Yeah.
But I'm just interested to see how the miracle works because I feel like there's so much that's so cost heavy in this. So, like, I'm just really curious to see how this all works together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
mean-
is something wrong?
No, some of these, I mean, we buy cheap sleeves, so some of them just come, like, dented and bent.
No, got it.
But that happens when you buy as cheap sleeves as we buy.
But you know we have too many.
I was trying to put this on the camera, and I just don't. There we go. You guys should be able to see that one. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, there's a nice shuffle for you guys. Yeah, I don't know what my favorite card would have been out of reading them. I think the Stunning Dude is really cool. What was that like? Cool. It was like Fear of Sleep Paralysis.
Yes,
I think. Fun. Bam! There it is. We're gonna shift this off to the side though, and we are going to crack into
the pack.
Our collector booster.
Oh, gotta get my phone ready.
Oh, that broke.
Oh.
Yep. So.
Do you need help?
Nope, we got there.
Okay, cool.
Just had to be intentional with how I continued that one. All right, shall we? 3, 2, 1. Are you pulled up and ready?
Yeah.
And first of all, fake token, not fake token, but just like add token thing, and skablam! We have a unwanted remake. Single white, destroy target creature, its controller manifests dread. That's actually a very playable card.
That's a really cool art.
Yeah, I do like that art. I mean, for someone that was not a big fan of Duskmourn,
yeah,
for you to admit that it looks cool.
Well, it's like video gamey almost. Well, it looks kind of like Mad Scientist. I don't know. It's cool.
Oh, I have to guess, don't I?
Yes.
12 cents.
19.
19 for this cool art version?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. All right, ready? Yep. Winter Misanthropic Guide. It is one, a black, red, and a green, so Gruul, I think? Anyways. So. Human Warlock Legendary Creature 3/4 Ward 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws 2 cards. As long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent's maximum hand size is equal to 7 minus the number of those card types.
Wow.
That seems like a really interesting commander to play.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting commander to play.
What do you think?
I'm going to say, did you see the version of it?
Yeah.
This, like, yellow? I'm going to say, like, 20 cents then.
19 cents.
Yeah, I was going to say. It seems fun, but it seems useless.
It
like,
is.
Or not useless, but not, like, valuable. You know what I mean? So, all right, once more, don't buy it for these collector booster packs.
Don't do it, you guys.
They'll give you a rare. They're guaranteed to give you a rare or mythic, but it's not guaranteed to be a good one.
Nope.
This one does seem like a kind of fun commander to build, but definitely not a valuable card.
No, not
what we call a bulk rare. All right, well, we're going to set that down there, and we'll set her right there next to it, because why not? That's how we'll end this video. We hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like on the video. Comment down below, what was your favorite card? What was your least favorite card? And what would you give this deck out of 10? We're going to go ahead and give our ratings of that out of 10. So I think right now, my excitement for it is up there, so I think I'm going to give it, like... I think I'm going to give it a 7, I would say.
Give it, like, a 5 or a 6 for me.
Mine's like between 6 and 7, but I think I'll lean into 7. There's some exciting things about this deck.
There's some exciting things, and I'm just curious to see how Miracle works.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, like, manipulated heavy. Like, you have to really think and be methodical and, like, oh, do I want to put this on top now? Do I want to put it on later?
Exactly.
Because you only get that trigger once per turn. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's what we give it, but we will, I don't know, we always say that we're going to go back and change it in the comments once we play it, but we have never done that. Maybe we'll finally get to it with this video, maybe not, but we want to hear from you guys what you think about the deck down below. Like we said, leave a like, comment down below, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We would love to have you subscribe to the channel. You guys are what makes Rollsicle so awesome, so thank you guys for being so cool. We will see you in the next one. Until then, may those rolls be ever in your favor, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace out.
Bye, y'all.